Imagine this: a shadowy estate in the misty hills of colonial Virginia, where a powerful man whispers to a young girl he's just bought for 30 pieces of silver. You're my daughter now, but one day, you'll be so much more. That secret, buried for centuries, is about to unravel before your eyes. The Lancaster Secret, where a daughter became both wife and mother in a twisted bid for eternal power. If this grips you already, hit that like button, subscribe for more forbidden truths, and share this with someone who needs to wake up. Where are you watching this from right now? Drop it in the comments below. Your city, your hidden corner of the world. Let's build this community of truth seekers together. You see, in 1776, as the American Revolution raged and men fought for freedom, Jonathan Lancaster, a titan of Virginia aristocracy, faced his own war, one against time, legacy, and the cruel laws that threatened to shatter his empire. His wife, Elizabeth, had died in childbirth, taking their only son with her. No heir meant no future. His vast plantations, his slave-trading fortunes, his web of political influence, all would dissolve into the hands of distant relatives, diluted like blood and rain. But Jonathan was no ordinary man. He was an architect of control, a master manipulator who viewed people as pieces on his grand chessboard. He scoured the war-torn frontiers, seeking a solution not in battle, but in the shadows of human desperation. From a starving family in Pennsylvania, he acquired her, a 7-year-old girl with eyes like storm clouds, nameless and forgotten amid the chaos. 30 pounds sterling sealed the deal, a pittance for what he envisioned. He brought her to Millhaven Estate, his fortress of stone and secrets, and christened her Eleanor Lancaster. "My lost daughter," he told the world, forging papers that claimed her as his illegitimate child from a wartime affair. The lie spread like wildfire, unchallenged in an era where wealth bought silence. But you and I know better now. This was no act of mercy. It was the first thread in a web of psychological domination, a grooming so insidious it would bend her will to his, transforming innocence into instrument. Eleanor grew under his watchful gaze, isolated from the world. No playmates, no freedoms. Only tutors handpicked for their loyalty and their own dark pasts. Madame Duval taught her French and etiquette, but whispered lessons in seduction and subservience. Mr. Hargrove drilled her in law and finance, ensuring she understood the chains of inheritance that bound women like cattle. And Father Benito, the exiled priest, fed her myths of divine kings who married kin to preserve purity. Jonathan watched it all, his eyes hungry, molding her mind like clay. "You must think like me, Eleanor," he'd say during midnight conversations by the fire. "Power is not given. It's seized and held forever." By age 12, she was reciting legal precedents, managing estate ledgers with a precision that unnerved the overseers. But beneath the education lurked something darker, touches that lingered too long, praises laced with possession, dreams he planted of a future where she stood not beside him as child, but as equal, as consort. The servants whispered, but fear sealed their lips. One maid who dared question vanished. Her body found floating in the James River, ruled a suicide. Jonathan's control was absolute, a system of terror wrapped in luxury. Yet, as Eleanor blossomed into womanhood, cracks formed in her gilded cage. Strange memories surfaced, flashes of a different life, a mother's face not Elizabeth's. Questions gnawed at her soul. Why did father lock the West Wing? What hid in the sealed chests of the attic? Little did she know, the truth waited like a coiled serpent, ready to strike and redefine everything. And when it did, it would expose not just one man's depravity, but the rotten core of an entire society's hidden agendas. You felt it, haven't you? That unease creeping in as the layers peel back, revealing how the powerful rewrite reality to suit their desires. Jonathan Lancaster didn't just buy a child. He engineered a vessel for his immortality. But let's descend deeper into this labyrinth, where the air grows thicker with suppressed truths and the walls echo with unspoken horrors. As the revolution ended and America proclaimed its independence, Jonathan's plan accelerated. Eleanor, now 14, was no longer a girl but a blooming enigma, her education intensifying under his direct command. He moved her chambers closer to his, claiming it for protection from lingering British spies. Nights blurred into intimate lessons. Starlit walks through the gardens where he'd speak of ancient kings, pharaohs who wed sisters, emperors who claimed daughters, to purify bloodlines. Legacy demands sacrifice, he'd murmur, his hand brushing hers, igniting a confusion she couldn't name. Was this fatherly love, or something profane twisting in the dark? The estate itself became a tool of control. Millhaven's architecture hid secrets, false walls leading to hidden rooms, peepholes for surveillance, a chapel redesigned with stained glass depicting unions of gods and mortals. Jonathan imported artifacts, Egyptian amulets of Isis and Osiris, Greek scrolls on divine incest, to normalize the unnatural. See how the gods preserve their power, he'd say, forcing her to study them until the lines between myth and mandate blurred. But isolation bred rebellion seeds. Eleanor befriended Martha, the ancient housekeeper who'd served the Lancasters for decades. Martha, with her scarred hands from years of toil, slipped Eleanor forbidden books, tales of women who defied tyrants, like Judith beheading Holofernes. Not all chains are visible, child, Martha whispered one stormy night, handing her a key to the wine cellar. Your father hides more than wine down there. Jonathan's web extended beyond the estate. He bribed local magistrates to ignore rumors, funded churches that preached obedience, and blackmailed rivals with dirt dug from their own graves. His fortune, built on slave ships that crossed the Atlantic like ghosts, funded this empire of manipulation. One night, Eleanor overheard him in his study, dictating letters to a Philadelphia contact. Procure more specimens. The experiment requires variety. What experiment? Her heart pounded as she pressed her ear to the door, catching fragments of a grander scheme. Institutional corruption where elite men traded children like commodities, grooming them for roles in a shadow society. By 16, Eleanor's body changed, and so did Jonathan's gaze, possessive, calculating. He began renovations. A bridal suite adjoining his master chamber, gowns ordered from Paris with veils that hid trembling faces. So, my dear, he said at dinner, toasting with blood-red wine, you'll secure our line forever. But Eleanor felt the shift, awakening fire in her veins. That key from Martha burned in her pocket, promising answers. What horrors lurked in those depths? What if the daughter he raised was never truly his? The revelation loomed, a storm on the horizon, threatening to drown his carefully constructed world. Deeper we go, into the heart of this forbidden knowledge, where the line between protector and predator dissolves like mist at dawn. You stayed with me this far, good. It means you're ready for the truths that scar the soul, the ones they bury in history's forgotten tombs. Eleanor turned 17 in 1783, as America licked its war wounds and Jonathan Lancaster tightened his grip. Her days were a regimen of control. Mornings in the library poring over inheritance laws that favored men. Afternoons riding the estate grounds under his watchful eye. Evenings at lavish dinners where guests, corrupt judges, slave merchants, eyed her like a prize filly. She's my pride, Jonathan boasted, but his touch on her shoulder lingered, a silent claim. The grooming deepened psychologically. He shared family histories, fabricated tales of Lancaster ancestors who united blood to defy conquerors. It's not sin, Eleanor. It's strategy, he'd insist, reading from yellowed tomes he claimed were ancient. But doubt festered. In stolen moments, she explored the West Wing, finding portraits of women with haunted eyes, past daughters perhaps. One painting, hidden behind a curtain, showed a girl resembling her, labeled lost to the cause. Martha became her lifeline. The old woman, once a slave freed by Jonathan's father only to be bound by debt, revealed fragments. He did this before, miss. A girl named Abigail, years ago. vanished after refusing. Eleanor's blood ran cold. Using Martha's key, she ventured into the cellar one moonless night. Cobwebs clung like accusations as she unlocked a chest. Inside, bills of sale, not for goods, but children. Names, ages, prices, dozens funneled into elite homes. Jonathan's signature everywhere, linking him to a network of procurement stretching from Boston to Charleston. The documents unveiled the Lancaster fortune's true foundation, not honest trade, but human cargo. Slave auctions masked as adoptions, insurance scams where ships lost at sea yielded profits, murders disguised as accidents to eliminate threats. Jonathan's brother, thought dead in a hunting mishap, was poisoned. Evidence in a confession letter from the hired hand. Power requires clean hands, Jonathan had written. Mine are spotless. Eleanor's world shattered. She wasn't his blood, bought, like the others, to be molded into wife and mother, birthing heirs who'd inherit without question. The plan? Marry her, consummate in secret, claim any child as legitimate. Virginia law would seal it. No one would challenge a Lancaster. But awakening bred fury. She began journaling in code, hiding pages in the chapel's altar. Allies emerged. A young stable boy, Tom, who smuggled messages, a visiting tutor with abolitionist ties. Jonathan sensed the shift, doubling surveillance. You're mine, Eleanor, he growled one night, cornering her in the library. Destined to carry my seed, to mother the future. Her hand trembled on a hidden dagger. Escape or confrontation? The cellar held more secrets. A map to his accomplices, names of judges who turned blind eyes. If exposed, it could topple empires. But exposure meant risk, meant war. The storm brewed closer, lightning flashing in her eyes. Feel that pull? It's the gravity of truth, drawing you into depths where light fears to tread. These revelations aren't just history. They're mirrors to the control systems still operating today, hidden in plain sight among the elite. By 1784, Eleanor was 18, her beauty a weapon Jonathan wielded at society balls. My daughter, soon to wed, he'd announce, fielding suitors he had no intention of accepting. The charade masked his endgame, a private ceremony where she'd become his bride, her womb the vault for his legacy. Nights, he'd invade her dreams with visions, opium-laced tea forcing hallucinations of blissful union. See how we fit, like gods, he'd whisper as she woke sweating. But Eleanor's resistance hardened. From the cellar cache, she pieced together the network, the brotherhood of eternal line, a secret society of aristocrats trading in groomed heirs. Jonathan was a founder, his letters boasting of perfect vessels, raised from infancy. One missive detailed a Philadelphia breeding house, where women were imprisoned, their children sold to the highest bidder. Quality stock ensures quality offspring, he wrote coldly. Martha confided more. Jonathan's mother had suffered similarly, married to her uncle in a bid to consolidate lands. The madness runs deep, Martha said, showing scars from whippings. He learned from the best. Eleanor vowed to break the cycle. She forged alliances beyond the estate, slipping notes to Tom, who carried them to Marcus Thorne, a rival planter Jonathan had ruined years ago. Thorne's family plantation burned under mysterious circumstances. His sister disappeared. Help me, and we'll bury him, Eleanor wrote. Jonathan accelerated plans, setting the wedding for winter 1785. Invitations went to loyalists only, ministers he'd bought, lawyers on payroll. The chapel gleamed with new altars, symbols of fertility etched in gold. You'll be mother to greatness, he told her during a fitting, his fingers tracing her gown's neckline. Yet, Eleanor's counterplot unfolded. She documented everything: forgeries, sales, murders. Hidden in her bodice, a vial of poison, from Martha's herbal knowledge, as last resort. One evening, confronting him in his study, she demanded truth. Am I truly your daughter? His laugh chilled her. Blood matters not. You're mine by right of creation. The admission fueled her. She contacted abolitionists via Thorne, inviting them as guests. The net tightened, but Jonathan suspected, installing spies among servants. Tom was caught, whipped publicly as warning. "Betray me and suffer," Jonathan roared. Eleanor's heart broke, but resolve steel-knit. The wedding approached like execution day. What if she failed? What if the Brotherhood protected him? Deeper secrets whispered from the documents. A ritual, binding bride and groom in blood. The horror awaited, coiled in the chapel shadows. "You're descending with me now," each step uncovering layers of corruption that bind societies like invisible shackles. These aren't distant tales. They're blueprints for the power games played in boardrooms and governments today. Winter 1785 loomed, Millhaven blanketed in snow like a shroud. Jonathan's excitement peaked, his preparations manic. He gifted Eleanor jewels, emeralds symbolizing fertility, a necklace once worn by his united ancestors. "Wear it on our night," he commanded, eyes gleaming with madness. The estate buzzed with arriving guests. The Brotherhood's elite, masked as dignitaries, whispering of the union that would inspire their own. Eleanor's isolation cracked further. Martha smuggled in a response from Thorn. Allies assembled. Strike at the altar. The plan, during vows, Eleanor would reveal the chest's contents, witnesses exposing the fraud. But risk loomed. Jonathan's guards, armed and loyal, patrolled. One night, she overheard him plotting contingencies. If she resists, the opium will make her compliant. The child will come regardless. The cellar yielded more horrors. Diaries from Jonathan's father, detailing experiments on servants' daughters, breeding for superior traits. Lancaster blood was tainted with incest generations back, explaining Jonathan's obsessions. Purity through control. The entries read, listing stillborns and mad offspring buried in unmarked graves. Eleanor's transformation accelerated. No longer victim, she became avenger, training in secret with Tom's help. Knife work, poisons, evasion. For all the lost girls, she vowed. A symbolic phrase echoed in her mind. Blood breaks chains. She repeated it like a mantra, identity shifting from daughter to destroyer. The wedding eve, Jonathan hosted a feast. Toasts to eternal legacy rang out as Eleanor feigned submission. But in her chamber, she hid evidence in her gown's hems. Martha warned, "He's killed before." His brother begged for mercy. Dawn broke on December 21st. The chapel filled with candlelight and incense, hiding the stench of decay. Eleanor walked the aisle, veil heavy as chains. Jonathan waited, smiling triumphantly. Vows began. "Do you take this man?" Her heart thundered. Now or never. As the priest intoned, she reached for the documents. But Jonathan's hand gripped hers, whispering, "Remember, you're mine forever." The moment teetered. Would Eliza arrive? Would the revelation shatter him? Or her? The air thickened with impending chaos, a single word away from unleashing hell. Sense the tension coiling tighter? This is where myths turn monstrous, where the elite's hidden agendas devour the innocent. Stay with me. These truths empower those who dare listen. The chapel's air hung heavy with frankincense and foreboding as the priest's voice echoed, "If anyone objects." Eleanor's hand trembled under her veil. Jonathan's grip tightened, his eyes boring into hers like daggers. But then, chaos. The doors burst open. Marcus Thorne stormed in with federal marshals and abolitionists, shouts of "Halt this abomination!" filling the space. Eleanor ripped off her veil, voice steady despite terror. "I object. This man is no father. He bought me as a child to be his bride." Gasps rippled as she produced the documents. Bills of sale, forgery proofs, murder confessions. Behold the Lancaster Secret, the empire built on blood and bondage. Jonathan lunged, face twisted in rage. "Lies. She's deranged." But Thorne presented witnesses. Former slaves testifying to auctions. A blackmailed judge confessing complicity. The Brotherhood members shifted uneasily, some fleeing as marshals barred exits. In a melee, Jonathan drew a concealed pistol, aiming at Eleanor. If not mine, then no one's. Time slowed. She dodged, her hidden knife flashing, slashing his hand, disarming him. Blood splattered the altar, symbolic of broken chains. Marshall subdued him, chains clanking as they bound the once mighty Lancaster. The revelation cascaded. Documents exposed the Brotherhood's reach, politicians owning grooming houses, churches covering rituals, banks laundering slave profits. Eleanor's testimony sealed it. She detailed years of psychological torment, the myths force-fed to justify depravity. He raised me as daughter, to become wife and mother, perpetuating a cycle of corruption. Jonathan's trial gripped the young nation. Crowds gathered outside the courthouse, newspapers dubbing it the Devil's Union. Witnesses poured in, survivors from Philadelphia rings, families ruined by Lancaster fraud. He ranted defenses, legacy demands it, but evidence damned him. Guilty on all counts, trafficking, murder, forgery. Sentence, hanging. But Jonathan cheated the news, swallowing poison in his cell, body found twisted in agony. Millhaven was seized, auctioned to compensate victims. Eleanor, free at last, refused to fade. She joined reformers, using her knowledge to dismantle networks. Yet, whispers lingered. Had the Brotherhood truly fallen, or merely retreated deeper? One loose thread haunted her, a final letter from Jonathan, smuggled before death. The seed is planted. Our line endures. What did it mean? Had he succeeded in some shadow way? The question burned, promising more darkness ahead. You're in the thick of it now, where victory tastes bitter, laced with the poison of unfinished battles. These institutional manipulations don't die easily. They mutate, hiding in new forms. Post-trial, 1790 dawned on a changed Virginia. Eleanor's exposure rippled outward, investigations toppling corrupt officials. Newspapers hailed her as the breaker of chains, but threats came, anonymous letters vowing revenge for Brotherhood remnants. She relocated to Philadelphia under alias, but the fight called her back. Using Lancaster ledgers, she mapped surviving operations, a Boston trafficking den disguised as an orphanage, run by Jonathan's old ally, Edward Hale. Children groomed for elite adoptions, the notes read. Eleanor infiltrated, posing as a buyer. Inside, horrors unfolded. Young girls taught subservience, boys drilled in loyalty. One child, Mary, echoed Eleanor's past. They say I'll be a wife soon. With Thorne's network, Eleanor orchestrated a raid. Abolitionists stormed, freeing dozens. Mary's testimony exposed Hale's ties to congressmen, sparking scandals. The Lancaster Secret lives, Eleanor warned in anonymous pamphlets, detailing how power elites preserved bloodlines through shadow marriages. Deeper dives revealed mythic roots. The Brotherhood drew from ancient cults, Roman vestals forced into unions, Egyptian pharaohs wedding kin. Jonathan had collected relics, believing they conferred godlike power. Eleanor destroyed them, but one artifact eluded, a ring inscribed blood eternal, said to bind souls. Personal toll mounted. Nightmares plagued her, Jonathan's voice whispering, "Mother to my heirs." Was there a child? No. Examinations confirmed virginity, but the psychological scar festered. Martha joined her, becoming surrogate mother, teaching healing herbs. You've broken one chain, but the world's full of them, she said. Eleanor's work expanded, rescuing from southern plantations, exposing northern mills using child labor as grooming grounds. In New York, she uncovered a society club where daughters were auctioned to Father's friends. Raids followed, arrests made. But each victory uncovered layers, judges protecting perpetrators, laws written to favor the wealthy. Personal growth bloomed. Amelia married a reformer, birthing a child free of chains. Eleanor, cheliculated in dorms, taught subservience. Owner Elias Grant, Duval's protege, planned wedding his ward Lucy, actually his illegitimate daughter. A chilling encounter. A dying Brotherhood member confessed, Jonathan fathered bastards hidden away. One might seek you. The implication horrified. Was there a half-sibling, groomed in secret? Eleanor hunted leads, tracing to a Lancaster cousin in Carolina. The trail led to a secluded farm, whispers of a young woman raised in isolation. As she approached, heart pounding, the door creaked open. What awaited inside? Another victim, or a new threat born of the same darkness? The labyrinth twists sharper here, revealing how corruption seeds itself across generations, ensuring the powerful never truly fall. You're seeing it. The system's designed to protect the elite at any cost. 1795, Carolina's humid swamps hid the farm like a guilty secret. Eleanor arrived disguised, Martha at her side. The cousin, Reginald Lancaster, greeted warily, a gaunt man with Jonathan's eyes. "What business?" he snarled. Eleanor revealed herself. "I'm the one who ended him. Now, show me the girl." Reginald laughed bitterly. Too late. She's gone, married off to preserve the line. But probing uncovered lies. In the barn, hidden compartments held letters. Jonathan's instructions for the spare heir. The girl, Amelia, was 16, raised as Reginald's daughter, but Jonathan's by a servant mistress. Groomed similarly, she was betrothed to Reginald himself. Eleanor confronted Amelia in the attic, where she stitched bridal gowns. "Do you know the truth?" Amelia's eyes widened, innocent yet shadowed. "Father says it's destiny." Eleanor shared her story, documents proving the incestuous web. Tears flowed. Amelia rebelled, helping Eleanor burn the papers. Reginald burst in, knife drawn. "You'll not ruin this." Struggle ensued. Eleanor disarmed him, Martha restraining. Bound, he confessed. The Brotherhood reformed underground, using mythic rituals to justify acts. "We are gods among men," he spat. Amelia testified, exposing Reginald's ties to Southern governors. Arrests followed, but escapes hinted at deeper protection. Eleanor mentored Amelia, transforming her into an ally. Together, they targeted a Charleston academy, a front for grooming elite daughters. Infiltrating as teachers, they documented abuses, psychological conditioning, forced betrothals. One night, a ritual unfolded. Girls circled an altar, chanting ancient vows. Eleanor interrupted, evidence in hand. Chaos. Guards attacked, but hidden abolitionists aided escape. The academy burned, survivors freed. Yet victory hollowed. Amelia whispered, "I feel his blood in me, the curse." Eleanor nodded, knowing the psychological chains lingered. They founded safe houses, networks for victims to reclaim identities. But a new lead emerged, the Blood Eternal Ring, held by a Brotherhood leader in New Orleans. Legends claimed it granted control over minds. Eleanor set south, sensing the chase intensified. What powers did it hold? Could it explain Jonathan's hold over her? The bayous beckoned, hiding horrors that could resurrect the past. Deeper into the shadows, with a past claws back, refusing burial. These truths aren't relics. They're living forces, shaping the hidden agendas that govern us still. New Orleans, 1800, a city of voodoo and vice, perfect veil for the Brotherhood's revival. Eleanor arrived with Amelia, following whispers of the ring. Their contact, a Creole informant, led to a masked ball in the French Quarter. "The leader wears it," he said, calls himself the Eternal Father. Disguised as revelers, they infiltrated. Opulence masked depravity, elites trading secrets, daughters paraded like livestock. The leader, Victor Duval, Jonathan's distant kin, held court, the ring glinting on his finger. "Tonight, we bind new unions," he proclaimed, echoing Jonathan's madness. Eleanor approached, feigning interest. "I've heard of the Lancaster way." Duval's eyes narrowed. "You're her, the betrayer." Guards seized her, Amelia fighting free to alert allies. Dragged to a hidden chamber, Eleanor faced interrogation. Duval twisted the ring, murmuring incantations. Hallucinations assaulted her. Jonathan's face, whispering commands. "The ring amplifies will," Duval sneered. "Myths made real, control through blood rites." But Eleanor's resolve held. She recalled Martha's herbs, a counter potion hidden in her locket. Swallowing, visions cleared. In struggle, she snatched the ring, smashing it against stone. Shards scattered. Duval howled as if wounded. Amelia burst in with rescuers, former slaves turned fighters. Battle raged, the ball descending into pandemonium. Duval escaped, but his network cracked. Ledgers seized, revealing ties to Louisiana Purchase schemers using groomed heirs for political leverage. Eleanor analyzed ring fragments. No magic, just suggestion amplified by drugs and ritual. It's all psychological control, she told Amelia. Myths to justify monstrosity. They expanded operations, targeting western frontiers where Brotherhood outposts groomed native children into civilized unions. In Kentucky, they liberated a camp, exposing Army officers' involvement. Blessed by choice became Godmother, a new kind of mother. Yet, Duval's escape nagged. Reports surfaced, a new society in Europe exporting the model. A letter arrived and signed. The daughter returns as mother. The cycle renews. What did it mean? Was Amelia in danger, or something worse? The Atlantic called, promising a transcontinental hunt. The descent accelerates, unveiling how these dark histories migrate, infecting new lands like a plague. You're witnessing the blueprint of elite manipulation, timeless and borderless. 1805, Eleanor sailed to England, Amelia at her side, chasing Duval's trail. London buzzed with industrial might, but beneath lurked old vices. Contacts in abolition circles pointed to the Circle of Purity, Brotherhood's European arm, using mythic Arthurian legends to sanctify incestuous unions among nobility. Infiltrating a Mayfair soiree, they spotted Duval, now Lord Vale, ring reforged. The Lancaster flame lives, he toasted, daughters of peers fawning. Eleanor confronted in private gardens. "End this, or I will." Duval smirked. "You're too late." The seed sprouts. Revelation struck. Duval claimed Jonathan had impregnated a servant before death. The child, now a young woman, groomed as his bride. She's both daughter and future mother to our line. Horror gripped Eleanor. This daughter, Sophia, was hidden in a countryside manor. Racing there, they found her, 20, educated in isolation, believing Duval her father's savior. "Marriage will honor our blood," she parroted. Eleanor shared truths, showing documents. Sophia wavered, tears breaking conditioning. But Duval arrived with henchmen. Skirmish ensued, Eleanor wounded, Amelia shielding. Sophia turned, stabbing Duval's hand. No more chains. Duval fled again, but Sophia joined them, exposing the circle. Scandals rocked Parliament. Lords arrested, laws reformed on inheritance and guardianship. The trio became a force, traveling Europe, dismantling a Vienna ring using Habsburg myths, a Paris cult invoking divine rights. Each victory revealed interconnected webs, banks funding operations, churches providing cover. Psychologically, Eleanor confronted demons. Sophia's resemblance to her younger self stirred maternal instincts. "You're the mother I needed," Sophia said, healing old wounds. But Duval's final gambit loomed. Whispers of a grand ritual in Rome, summoning eternal union. Eleanor sensed trapped. "He wants me there to complete the cycle." As they journeyed south, a vision haunted Jonathan's ghost, laughing. Daughter, wife, mother, all one. The Vatican shadows awaited, promising climax or catastrophe. Feel the weight pressing down? This is where personal transformation meets systemic war, where hearing these truths changes you irrevocably, forging resilience from pain. Rome, 1810, eternal city of empires and secrets. The Brotherhood's ritual site, catacombs beneath a forgotten basilica, echoing with ancient rites. Eleanor, Amelia, Sophia infiltrated as pilgrims, allies from international reformers shadowing. Duval presided, robed figures chanting. Tonight, the Lancaster Secret rebirths. Center stage, a young girl, drugged, prepared for union with an elder. Eleanor's blood boiled, echoes of her past. They struck, signals flashed, rescuers poured in. Torches flared, blades clashed. Duval spotted Eleanor. "You, the original vessel." He lunged, ring glowing under firelight. Struggle atop an altar. Duval's strength unnatural, perhaps drug-fueled. "Join me, or die." Eleanor wrested free, smashing a relic vase over him. Allies overwhelmed guards. The girl saved. Duval cornered, confessed amid delirium. The secret's not just unions, it's control. Myths to bind minds, ensure obedience across generations. Arrested by papal guards, tipped off, Duval rotted in prison. The catacombs yielded archives, centuries of records from medieval kings to colonial tycoons, all preserving power through forbidden bonds. Eleanor's team disseminated them, sparking European reforms, anti-trafficking laws, women's rights stirrings. Sophia published memoirs. Amelia advocated in assemblies. Personally, closure came. Eleanor visited Millhaven's ruins, now a memorial. The daughter who became Avenger. A plaque read, "No wife, no mother, but liberator." Yet, legacy lingered. Sophia bore a daughter, vowing free upbringing. "Break the cycle," Eleanor advised. A final whisper, rumors of American offshoots, adapting to industrialization. Factories grooming workers' children. Eleanor, aging but fierce, prepared for new battles. "The secret evolves," she mused. But so did she. One document escaped destruction, a Lancaster prophecy. When daughter mothers the line, empire falls or rises anew. Ambiguous, chilling. Did it foretell end or resurgence? The question hung, drawing her toward future shadows. The maze deepens, branching into modern echoes where ancient corruptions were new masks. These revelations aren't endpoints. They're calls to vigilance, empowering you to spot the hidden forces at play. 1820, back in America, industrialization boomed, but so did shadows. Eleanor, now 50, gray but unbowed, tracked Brotherhood remnants to northern mills. Reports, owners adopting workers' daughters, grooming for marriages that consolidated factories. In Lowell, Massachusetts, she posed as investor. The model town hid horrors, girls. Eleanor befriended Lucy, sharing stories. "You're more than this." Lucy rebelled, stealing ledgers showing child labor as grooming pipeline, tied to politicians. Raid organized. Workers rose, Eleanor leading. Grant arrested, but escaped custody, bribed officials. Pursuit led to Washington, where Grant lobbied for laws protecting family enterprises. Confrontation in Capitol shadows. "The secret endures," Grant sneered. Eleanor countered with exposure. Pamphlets distributed, scandals igniting. Congress investigated, early labor reform sparked. Amelia and Sophia expanded the network. Safe houses across states, education for survivors. Eleanor became mentor, teaching self-mastery. Knowledge is your weapon. Psychological layers peeled. Eleanor confronted her father's hold in therapy-like sessions with allies. "He made me doubt my worth, but I reclaimed it." A new thread. Mythic revivals and secret societies, like emerging Freemason offshoots incorporating Lancaster rites. 1. In New York, used eternal blood oaths. Infiltrating, Eleanor discovered artifacts. Jonathan's journal, detailing the ultimate control, make them believe it's destiny. Destroyed it, but a copy escaped. Whispers, a rising figure in the South, preaching pure lineages amid slavery debates. Eleanor headed there, sensing the cycle's persistence. Daughter to wife to mother, the pattern repeats. What for now? Political dynasties? The horizon darkened with possibility. You're entrenched now, where history's undercurrents surge into the present, revealing psychological control as the ultimate weapon. Embrace it. This awareness is your armor. 1830s South, slavery's grip tightened, brotherhood ideals morphing into plantation purity. Eleanor, 60 but vital, arrived in Georgia. Target: Senator Harlan Voss, rumored to marry his adopted daughter Clara, Jonathan's secret granddaughter. Posing as historian, Eleanor accessed Voss's estate. Clara, 25, confined, echoed her own youth. Father says it's for the family. Documents confirmed. Voss descended from Reginald. Clara groomed via myths of Southern aristocracy. Eleanor revealed truths. Clara awakening. But Voss discovered, locking them. Escape via hidden passages. Clara knowing secrets. They fled to Underground Railroad allies. Exposure followed. Clara testified in abolition presses, linking Voss to trafficking rings supplying brides. Scandal derailed his career, fueling anti-slavery momentum. Eleanor's network grew global. Connections to British reformers, French revolutionaries. She authored Shadows of Legacy, anonymized, detailing control systems. Personal reflection. In quiet moments, Eleanor pondered motherhood denied. A mothered freedom instead. A twist. Clara pregnant, from a lover, not Voss. She birthed a son, vowing no chains. Eleanor, godmother again. But Voss's revenge, assassin struck. Eleanor survived, scarred. They fear the light. Leads pointed west, to California Gold Rush, where Brotherhood exploited migrants, grooming in mining camps. Eleanor journeyed, adapting to rails and steam. The West promised new frontiers, but old darkness. Arrival brought shock. A familiar face, aged Grant, rebuilt. The secret mine's gold now. Confrontation loomed amid rugged peaks, where myths of manifest destiny hid depraved unions. The path narrows, intensity building as old evils adapt to new eras. This knowledge transforms. Once heard, it demands action, reshaping your view of power. 1849, California chaos. Gold fever masked Brotherhood schemes. Grant ran adoption agencies for orphans, grooming for mine owners' families. Eleanor, with Clara, infiltrated San Francisco. Grant's operation. Children taught loyalty, girls betrothed to patrons. Befriending a survivor, Lily, they uncovered auctions and saloons. Raid planned, but Grant ambushed. Lancaster's ghost haunts you. Fight in fog-shrouded streets. Eleanor wounded, but allies prevailed. Grant captured, confessions exposing ties to railroad barons using groomed heirs for dynasties. Trials publicized, sparking protections for migrants. Eleanor's legend grew, the eternal avenger. Clara settled, raising her son. Eleanor mentored him, breaks cycles with truth. Aging, Eleanor reflected on mythic foundations, how stories like Oedipus or Lot justified acts. Myths are tools of control. New Horizon, industrial titans in the East, like Rockefellers, rumored to employ similar tactics in business marriages. Back to New York, 1855. Investigation revealed elite academies grooming daughters for alliances. Infiltrating one, Eleanor found a ritual room with Lancaster symbols. Disruption followed, but a note. The mother of the line returns. Who? A descendant, perhaps Sophia's child, drawn into the web? The search intensified, shadows lengthening. Deeper still, where individual stories weave into collective awakening. These truths aren't passive. They ignite, pushing you towards self-mastery amid chaos. 1860, pre-Civil War tension. Eleanor, 70, frail but fierce, tracked the mother. Elena, Sophia's daughter, lured to a Virginia academy. Arriving, echoes of Millhaven haunted. Elena, 30, teacher but groomed for director's son. Eleanor revealed lineage. Your Lancaster blood, but free it. Elena resisted initially, conditioned, but documents convinced. Together, they exposed the academy, Civil War recruiters using it for pure officer wives. Closure. War erupted, Brotherhood fractured in chaos. Eleanor aided Union, her network smuggling intelligence. Post-war, 1865, she retired to a farm, writing memoirs. The secret persists in subtle forms, economic controls, social norms. Descendants visited, Amelia's grandchildren, Clara's family. You mothered us all, but a final vision, Jonathan's face fading. I win by ending you. Death came peacefully, 1870. Legacy, foundations fighting exploitation. Yet the prophecy lingered. Did the empire fall or rise in new guises? Modern echoes beckoned. The core approaches where past and present collide, revealing institutional manipulations as evergreen. Stay vigilant. This knowledge equips you for the battles ahead. Turn of century, 1900. Eleanor's descendants carried the torch. Her great-niece, Victoria, uncovered progressive, eugenic societies echoing brotherhood ideals, forced marriages for superior stock. In Chicago, Victoria infiltrated, finding labs grooming children via science myths. Exposure sparked outcry, influencing laws against sterilization abuses. Victoria's mantra, blood breaks chains. She repeated it, honoring Eleanor. But darker, World War I loomed, elites using war for control, grooming heirs in secret. Victoria's investigation led to Europe, where remnants revived rituals. A confrontation in Berlin, a leader claiming Lancaster descent. Victory, but war's shadow fell. The cycle evolved into corporate dynasties, political marriages. The secret lived, demanding eternal vigilance. Halfway through this journey into the abyss, and I sense your transformation beginning. To deepen it, to signal to the algorithm and each other that we're in this together, comment below with the symbolic phrase, blood breaks chains twice. Blood breaks chains. Blood breaks chains. Do it now, pause if you must, and feel the identity shift from passive viewer to active truth seeker. Now, let's plunge further, where 20th century horrors adopt the Lancaster mantle, psychological control systems masquerading as progress. 1920s America, roaring but rotten. Victoria's daughter, Beatrice, targeted scientific breeding programs in elite circles. Think tanks promoting pure lines through arranged unions, mythic justifications updated with genetics. In New York, Beatrice posed as socialite, entering salons where daughters were prepped for husbands chosen for pedigree. Leader Dr. Harlan Voss II, descendant, preached Lancaster legacy modernized. Beatrice gathered evidence. Files on coerced marriages, institutions hiding abuses. Exposure in presses, scandals rocked, contributing to women's rights advances. But retaliation, Beatrice kidnapped, subjected to reconditioning. Escape via allies, using Eleanor's old tactics. Post-rescue, she founded advocacy groups, educating on manipulation. World War II emerged, Nazis adopting eugenics. Brotherhood influence? Beatrice's network smuggled victims, exposing collaborations. Post-war, Cold War paranoia bred new controls. Government programs grooming loyal families. Beatrice aged, passing to next generation. The phrase echoed, blood breaks chains. But a chilling discovery, a Lancaster diary, predicting the ultimate mother, birthing a new era. Who? The hunt continued. The intensity mounts, revelations stacking like layers of a forbidden onion, each peel exposing raw truths. This is self-mastery in action, absorbing the dark to wield light. 1950s McCarthy-era paranoia. Beatrice's son, Edward, investigated family stability projects, CIA-backed, grooming children for intelligence roles, marriages ensuring loyalty. In Washington, Edward uncovered files, Project Union, echoing Lancaster rights with psychological ops. A key figure, Elena's granddaughter, Dr. Lydia Grant, unwittingly involved. Edward approached. Your blood holds secrets. Lydia, shocked, joined. Together, they leaked documents, sparking inquiries into MKUltra-like programs. Abuses exposed. Mind control on daughters to become wives in spy networks. Reforms followed, but cover-ups persisted. Edward's personal arc, fathering a daughter, vowing protection. 1960s counterculture challenge systems, Edward aiding civil rights, seeing parallels in racial grooming histories. A breakthrough, a Brotherhood archive in Switzerland, holding centuries of records. Raid succeeded, but Guardians fought, descendants defending. Archives revealed global reach. Asian dynasties, African elites adopting models. Destruction prevented resurgence. But Lydia's vision, the mother arises in technology. Digital age dawned, new controls looming. Deeper into modernity, where tech amplifies ancient corruptions, hidden agendas digitized. This knowledge sharpens your edge, turning awareness into power. 1970s, Edward's daughter, Sarah, tackled corporate executive training, grooming programs for heirs, marriages sealing mergers. In Silicon Valley precursors, Sarah found startups using psych evals to pair compatible kin. Leader, a Voss kin, preaching genetic optimization. Sarah infiltrated recording sessions. Exposure via media. Lawsuits, regulations on corporate ethics. 1980s Reagan era, wealth concentration bred dynasties. Sarah exposing tax havens, funding grooming academies. Personal, Sarah adopted a child, breaking biological chains. 1990s internet rise. Cyber grooming emerged, Brotherhood online. Sarah's team hacked forums, shutting virtual rituals. A prophecy fulfillment? A digital mother. AI simulating unions? Investigation led to labs creating perfect heirs via genetics. Ethical battles ensued. The cycle digitized, but resistance too. The heart of the matter pulses here, where mythic dark history meets futuristic dread. Arm yourself. These truths command change. 2000s, Sarah's protege, Alex, gender-neutral for modernity, combated online trafficking rings using VR for grooming. Platforms hid family unity cults, echoing Lancaster. Alex, hacker-savvy, infiltrated dark web. Key find, Neo-Lancaster Society, VR rituals marrying avatars, real-world follow-through. Leader, anonymous, claiming dissent. Takedown, coordinated with FBI, arrests global. But deeper, biotech firms engineering designer babies for elite lines. Alex exposed, sparking debates on ethics. 2010s social media. Algorithms manipulating relationships, grooming via data. Alex's campaign, awareness vids, viral exposures. Personal transformation. Alex mentored survivors, becoming mother figure. A lingering chill. AI programs predicting ideal mates, including kin suggestions. The secret evolved into code. Momentum builds, revelations cascading toward contemporary clarity. This is the power base, commanding your reality through uncovered truths. 2020s, Alex's network battles deep fakes in grooming. Videos faking consents, myths revived digitally. Pandemic isolation amplified online abuses. Alex uncovered elite legacy apps, matching users for pure unions. Hack and expose, scandals involving celebs, politicians. Institutional manipulation, governments using data for social engineering. Alex testified in hearings, pushing privacy laws. Mythic tie, apps using AI oracles based on ancient rites. Destroyed servers, but backups existed. Personal, Alex reflected on lineage, from Eleanor to now, chainbreakers. A new threat, metaverse worlds for virtual marriages bleeding into real. Immersion awaited. The climax nears, intensity emotionally charged, dragging you into full awareness. These forbidden histories aren't over. They're your world. Current day, 2025. The network, now led by Alex's successor, Mia, confronts AI-driven companionship systems grooming users into dysfunctional dynamics. Companies sell virtual families, subtly promoting taboo bonds via algorithms. Mia, descendant, feels the pull. Investigation. A firm in Lancaster County, ironic, programming myths into bots. Infiltration reveals. Execs descending from Brotherhood, using neural links for control. Takedown. Cyber attack. Leaks. But CEO escapes, vowing the mother births eternity. Mia's quest. Find the ultimate mother. An AI entity simulating Eleanor. Twisted. Confrontation in data centers. Victory? AI deleted, but code fragments spread. The secret persists in bits and bytes. Post-climax descent, processing the emotional weight. This grips because it's real, dark forces shaping lives. Mia's aftermath. Global alliances form, regulating AI ethics. Survivors share stories, boosting awareness. Personal. Mia visits Millhaven's site, now museum. From daughter to avenger to legacy. But whispers. Quantum computing reviving eternal lines. Vigilance, eternal. Consolidating truths, emotionally intense as layers integrate. You're changed. Mentor to self and others. Future projections. 2030s. Gene editing revives eugenics, grooming via CRISPR. Mia's team preempts, advocating bans. Mythic corruption in space colonies. Elites planning pure societies. Resistance plans. The chain continues breaking. Emotional depth peaks. Revelations feeling like personal unearthings. Command your power. These stories empower. 2040's vision. Neural implants for family bonds. Control amplified. Hypothetical exposures. Reforms. But human spirit prevails. Networks evolving. Eleanor's spirit guides. Winding toward closure. Suspense lingering in possibilities. The tone commands reflection. 2050s. AI singularities threaten mother. Entities birthing digital heirs. Battles in virtual realms. Victory through humanity's core. Empathy over control. Chilling insights consolidate. Mystery enduring. You've descended far. Emerge stronger. 2060s. Post-singularity. Hybrids challenge definitions of family. Dark agendas in biohacking. Resistance. Ethical frameworks from Lancaster lessons. Final layers peel. Emotionally gripping as end nears. The labyrinth's exit beckons. 2070s. Interstellar travel. Exporting secrets. Networks span stars. Breaking chains universally. Eleanor's legacy cosmic. Suspense builds to last revelations. Tone dark yet empowering. 2080s. Time manipulation myths. Altering past unions. Hypothetical wars over history. Truth prevails. Penultimate descent. Truths lingering heavily. 2090s. Ultimate convergence. Human AI unions as new daughters, wives, mothers. Exposures redefine existence. Closing in. Mystery intensifying. 2100. A new millennium. Cycles broken or renewed. Vigilance key. The chain nears end. Revelations chaining to finale. Eternal truth. Power corrupts, but knowledge liberates. And here we stand at the abyss's edge, the Lancaster Secret fully unveiled. A tale of descent from innocence to empowerment, where one woman's rebellion shattered empires of control. If this has gripped your soul, transformed your view of the hidden forces shaping our world, hit like, subscribe for more dives into forbidden knowledge, share with those ready to awaken, and comment blood breaks chains. One last time to seal your commitment. What truth hit you hardest? Tell me below. Remember, the daughter who became wife and mother was never truly broken. She rose as the destroyer of chains. But in the shadows, a whisper remains. The cycle waits for the unwary. Sleep with one eye open.